What's up, guys? It is Chris back with another watch review. Today we are looking at TIMEX and the new release from TIMEX, the M79. Now, I've been wearing this for a few days, just about a week, and I figured I would give some of my opinions on the watch. So what we'll do is we'll go through specs, we will go through what I like, what I don't like, what I think is just okay, accuracy, price, and then we'll do a Lume Shot. Normally I do a strap change, but really this is meant to stay on this strap, so there will be no strap change. So 40 millimeters wide, 14.5 millimeters thick, fully stainless steel construction except for that plastic between the bezel and the case. We have an acrylic dome crystal on here. We have a black dial with applied markers that are illuminated. With that red seconds hand, which really stands out against the black dial. Very nice. We have a Miyota automatic movement in here and 50 meters of water resistance. So, what I like about this watch. I like the overall style, and I like that Timex are thinking of new ideas and executing them. So, last year they came out with the Q TIMEX. That was the quartz version with a Pepsi bezel, and was extremely popular. So they thought of obviously coming out with a Batman version, and they put an automatic movement in it to sort of upgrade it, and this is the result. Now, there have been upgrades made to this watch when you compare it to the original Q TIMEX, and some of those upgrades I think are actual faults, so we will get back to that in the area where I discuss what I don't like. However, what I like about this watch, besides the style and where Timex is going, I like the dial. I think the dial with the applied indices looks really good. It's very clean, and I like that they put applied indices on this watch. I like the overall style of the bezel. I don't think that it ratchets very well, and it's kind of loose, and it doesn't feel so good when you're turning it. It doesn't sound so great. However, I do like the way it looks, as long as you're not using it. I think it looks really good. The insert looks really good, and the colors are spot on. You have a black that matches the dial, and then the blue looks really nice. I love that there is an automatic movement. However, I'm not very happy that they decided to go with the lower grade Miyota movement. This is an 8 series, I believe. They should have went with the 9 series. However, that's the case. They did put a display case back. It is not a very good looking watch. Not a very good looking movement. And I will take it off my 7.5-inch wrist. And you can see it is, just very plainly decorated. The rotor is signed, but it's very lightly etched into the rotor, so you can barely see it, and the rest of the movement is, obviously not decorated very, very well. Last, I love the bracelet on this watch. I really think that it is very, very comfortable. A lot of people complain about it pulling hair. It does not pull my hair at all. It actually is very, very comfortable. I really like it, and I think it's actually pretty well made for the price point. It may not be the most expensive bracelet, but I think that this really goes with the style, and it does feel really nice in your hand. It's rolled steel, which is not, like I said, the most expensive bracelet that you can get on a watch, but I do like it, and I think it fits the watch. So, getting to what I don't like. I don't like that this watch is almost 15 millimeters thick. One thing I liked about the Q-Time, the original quartz movement with the Seiko quartz movement, it was a pretty thin watch, and it wore very comfortably on the wrist. Now this, don't get me wrong, this wears comfortably on my wrist. It is 40 millimeters, and the lug-to-lug is pretty tight, so it doesn't wear big at all. But you definitely notice this watch more when you're wearing it. It does sit higher on the wrist because of that thickness. And then it's also a little thicker because you have that domed acrylic crystal. So it's not the thinnest watch out there, and I feel like they could have made this a little bit thinner by possibly using a different movement. Like I said, the 9 series would have been really a really good choice for this watch. It would have made the back look a little bit nicer, and it would have made it thinner. Also, like I said, the bezel action is not good. Does not sound good. Sounds rattly and tinny. The grip is fine. However, it is really loose. You almost have an entire minute of play there when you're wiggling it back and forth. Very strangely, the crown is signed, and if you look on the Timex website right now, they're showing pictures of a watch without a signed crown. I don't understand, and there was one other thing that I saw on the website. It says that there's a mechanical hand-wound movement. That doesn't make any sense because this is not a hand-wound movement. And of course, this doesn't hack. So it does hand wind, but it doesn't hack, which is, a negative, I guess. And the one other thing about the bezel that I don't like is that it's actually thicker than the original Q-Timex. So I'll try and put a picture side by side here so you can see. But this bezel is substantially thicker than the original Pepsi style bezel, and on the Q-Timex last year's release. And for some reason that makes this watch a little less elegant. The Q Pepsi had a little bit more of an elegant look to it. It was thinner. It had that thinner bezel. It looked just a little bit better than this one does. I don't know why. It just does. It has a little bit more of a svelte look to it, I guess. And then my major question, why only 50 meters? Why are you putting a ratcheting bezel on this watch if you're not going to give it at least 100 meters water resistance? We have a push-pull crown. You're going the extra mile by putting in a Lume pip that actually is lumed, and it's a ratcheting bezel. It looks like a diver watch. It looks like a GMT diver. But it's not. It's neither of those things. So it was kind of acceptable at the price that the Q Pepsi was at. But this watch is pretty expensive. And this watch is being sold, or is now sold out. However, they will be restocking these more than likely at $279. And a watch that comes to mind when I think about $279 are watches like Ventus, the North Star, Zelos. You can get watches in this price range that have an NH35 that will hack, that will hand wind, that have a sapphire crystal, that are 200 or 300 meters water resistance. They have milled end links. They have full bracelets with deployant clasps. They have more interesting dials that are a little bit better, and lume, gobs of lume on the dial. And I think I already mentioned sapphire crystals. Sometimes they have fully loomed dials like the North Star, or really nice dials with texture to them. So the price on this, I think, is a little bit out of the ballpark. If they had put the 9000 series and maybe a sapphire crystal, this would be a little bit better of a price offering. And that's kind of the reason why I'm going to return it. I'm not going to be keeping this. I'm going to initiate a return, and I'm going to return the watch. I don't really love the watch, and I'm going to contact them. I've only wore it sparingly over the last few days, excuse me. And if they'll let me return it, if not, I'll throw it on eBay and I will sell it for exactly what I paid for it. That's the reason why I'm gonna return it. I feel like this watch could have been a little bit better, and it is not. And for the money, I'd rather buy the Ventus that I have on loan from Elshan from Zelos and put that money towards that watch rather than this watch. I feel like I'll wear it more, and I don't think this will get that much wear time. However, I'm not saying this is a bad watch. I'm just saying it's not the watch for me. I think that the value is not there. And the one thing that I really focus on is value, and I just don't feel it's there. And here's Lume Shot. It is not very good. As you can see, it fades pretty quickly. Mostly the hands are lumed and that pip. And it looks like the actual indices are very, very lightly lumed. And it just fades very, very quickly. Just fades away into basically nothing, and there's not really a time lapse here. You could see it is just almost gone, and you could just see that lume pip is remaining. I've charged it for a while, and it just doesn't hold. I think it's just very, very lightly painted on lume wise, and it just fades extremely quick. So this is not a very good lume application. And going back to what I said about micro brands, I mean, if you like Lume, this is not the watch for you. Go with a micro brand. Anyway, if you like this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. I really appreciate it, and it is very helpful for the channel. It helps me continue making these videos. Please also follow me at Watch Chris Blog on Instagram. Please add a comment below. Tell me what you think. Am I crazy? Should I keep the watch? I haven't really done anything yet. I haven't made that full decision yet to return it. However, I'd probably just send an email and see if it's possible for me to return it so I can just get my money back. I'm sure there's someone out there who wants it. Anyway, like I said, please don't forget to follow the channel and hit that like button. Have a good one.